Hi everyone, it's Akansha Timri, the founder and editor-in-chief of Tech Funding News, and we are today at the beautiful Mansion House covering Antler's European Conference 2024, and we have with us Luis Espinosa, who's the co-founder of SORTED. How are you doing, Luis?
Very well, thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you so much for joining Tech Funding News, and also, how are you enjoying the conference?
It's very nice, actually, like getting to know about the story of so many successful founders, like what VCs are looking at, like how the best way to approach them, how so many people have built successful business. Like it's very insightful to get from people who has actually gone that path before.
Wonderful, yes. It's always very nice at Antler's conference. It was wonderful last year. That was the first time I attended it. This is my second year, and I'm so happy to meet an incredible founder like you. So I would love to know about your journey so far. We would love to know your background. Also, how did you end up founding SORTED?
Yeah, so let me start a little bit about my background. I'm Colombian. I've been living in the UK for a couple of years now. So I had my first startup long time ago back in Colombia. It was a B2B SaaS platform in logistics. I exited that business and I then went to work for different tech companies such as Uber, Rappi, Latin American Unicorn, and Didi, Chinese Uber. So I have been living between Central and South America. I moved to the Emirates a few years ago. I was based in Dubai launching operations for Middle East, Africa, and Central Asia. And I came to the UK 3 years ago. This is where I met my co-founder. His name is Arthur Guillaume. He's French. And his background is basically in waste management and technology. So he has worked in very big corporations such as Suez, one of the biggest waste management companies in the world, but also in startups selling services to waste companies. The latest one was Waste Labs. They were using artificial intelligence to optimize the logistics for waste trucks. So how we got to fund SORTED? Well, actually, it came from this background. So he knows the industry very well, he knew the problems, and he saw this opportunity on how to improve the operations in the sorting centers. So there are some novel technologies out there, such as robots, that are very futuristic, trying to replace the humans when it comes to sorting materials in recycling centers. But he saw this opportunity about what if we increase the current system to penetrate the market fast and gain credibility with our customers. And so far, that's been paying off. So we have acquired some customers in the UK and France, and we expect to be growing our customer base in the coming months.
That's lovely. I mean, you are well traveled as far as I can imagine, and you have been to so many different countries and worked. And how did you meet your founder, who's French, you said, right?
Yes, he's French. So we met in the UK just before going through the Antler program, actually. So we both wanted to start a company. In my case, I wasn't sure about what, and also because, again, I'm not from the UK, my network was not that strong. So we met for a coffee, and in a very British way, we ended up in a pub having a beer. And then we said, okay, let's go through Antler together, let's iterate on different hypotheses. And actually, we were successfully on securing pre-seed funding from them, and here we are.
So you met Antler through your co-founders, what I understand.
Yes, that's correct. So yeah, we were part of Antler's program 2022, like almost 2 years ago.
That's lovely. And how much funding have you secured so far? And who were the investors?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, pre-seed round from Antler. And last year we went to raise our seed round. With the pre-seed money, what we did was we built MVP, we proved the conceptual value of our solution, and we went to try to acquire some customers. Once we gained that traction, we went to raise the seed round. We closed that earlier this year. So our lead investor is Spylabs. It's a UK-based fund, but also we have the support from Antler. They follow on their allocation. We have another fund that is called Archipelago Eco Investors. They're very focused on circular economy and waste management, so that brings a lot of credibility. And in total, we have raised almost 1.8 million pounds since we started the company last year.
Oh, that's amazing. Like last year, and you raised 1.8 already. And also, are you planning to raise more funding?
Not for the foreseeable future. Like the money we have should be enough, say no one ever, to last us until the next round. So for now, the focus is keep improving the technology, but of course, proving the commercial viability of our solution. So we're very keen to meet a lot of customers. If you know any waste company that is keen to try our solution, please let us know. And if everything goes well, by H1, end of H1, beginning of H2 of next year, we should be able we should be in a good position to raise our next round.
That's great. And what are your goals for 2024 and beyond? Are you looking for some partnerships, or are you planning to expand your team? How big is your team?
Yeah, so right now we're 6 people. 5 of them are in the tech team, so I'm the only one that is non-technical. It's a little bit lonely sometimes. We're hiring one more technical role because what we do is, well, it's deep tech. So we use computer vision to identify what goes through the recycling facilities, and then we use a laser system that will shine the light on the items that the pickers need to remove. So there is a lot of technological infrastructure that we need to build. So we're hiring that. So that's on the technical side. So it's strengthen more the technical team, keep building the technology, and on the commercial side, as I mentioned, like acquiring customers. So right now we're working with 2 of the biggest waste management companies in the UK and one of the biggest ones in France. So we're always keen to keep getting to know more customers, understanding the pain points, and trying our solution with them to adjust our value proposition to make sure that we're bringing enough value to them.
That's great. So I also want to understand now more about your product, Sorted. And because we are asked to sort our waste ourselves, and then you come up with this idea that you will sort the waste. So why do we need Sorted at the end of the day?
Yeah, although regulation is increasing, we need to look at the stats. Unfortunately, speaking about the UK, the recycling rates are roughly under 45%, and it is expected, well, the government wish is to increase that to 65% within the next 10 years. So that's still very challenging. So there is a lot of regulation coming, but it's not an easy job. So this is where technology makes sense, because like this is an industry that relies still a lot of human labor, right? Like you will see people working on conveyor belts trying to sort things manually. So our solution, what it does is that we're bridging the gap between the technology and the physical work. So we help the humans so they can be better at their job, but also increasing the efficiency of the recycling centers. Why? Because we can train people from day one. So we can take any person, take it to a recycling center, and they can start sorting very efficiently thanks to our technology. So this reduces the cost of the recycling centers, but also increasing the revenue, because recyclable materials are not only good for the environment, they have an economical value attached. So if we look, for example, 1 ton of HDPE, like the milk jugs that we have here in the UK, they are worth more than 10 times a ton of recycled paper. So by focusing our technology on recovering the most valuable materials, will increase also the revenue of the recycling centers. So yes, there is a lot of regulation coming, but unfortunately that's not enough, and this is in the context of Europe. If we go to the rest of the world, the recycling rates are under 10%. So that's very sad, that's an average. So in Colombia, where I'm from, unfortunately it's very manual intensive labor and is not very formalized. And there is not a lot of capital to improve this, to make this problem go away. So this is where we see a huge opportunity for technology.
That's interesting. And as I understand, you're also using artificial intelligence. Is it generated? Is it something that is taking the jobs, or is it something which is just a co-pilot?
Yeah, so it's none of the above. So what we do is that we install cameras in the recycling facilities. So what we do is that we capture the data from the conveyor belts. So we will recognize all of the items that pass through the conveyor belts, and we will put them into different categories. So we'll identify what is plastic, even within plastic, what is HDPE, PET, and so on, what is paper, cardboard, aluminum, and so on. So this is a ramification of artificial intelligence that is called computer vision. So what we do is that we train our computer vision model to identify different patterns when it comes to waste. So right now we're not taking any job away. As I mentioned, what we are doing is that we are empowering the pickers so they can be better at their job. So this is a nice way, you can call like some kind of co-pilot, but in the physical world. So we are leveraging technology to actually help the humans to be better at their jobs.
Okay, so you are also using computer vision and lasers,
Yes.
right? How does that work? Like, there is so much science and fiction in sorting waste management. This is like I'm hearing after a very long time.
Yeah, no. It sounds very like complex, but it's in reality quite simple. So the way I explained to my mom is that we take cameras to identify the waste that goes to a facility, and then we shine lights of different colors to help the humans see what item they need to recover. So it's like a very basic form of augmented reality. So you will see like all the waste in front of you, and you will see lights of different colors. So it will assist you so you can be better at sorting waste in the facilities.
Got it. And right now, I think a lot of companies are investing a lot, and a significant investment is being made in waste management. So, does that come as a problem for Sorted?
Actually, no. Actually, it's a good opportunity because the technology that we have developed is very easy to install and retrofit in any recycling facility. So companies don't have to make huge investments to improve their current infrastructure. They can leverage our technology to plug it in and bring the state-of-the-art, artificial intelligence technology to improve their operations. So, and this comes in a very important part, at least when it comes to the UK, where the regulation is unclear. So if we look at the DRS, the deposit return scheme system that was supposed to start in Scotland last year, that got delayed, that cost BIFA, one of the biggest waste management companies in the UK, more than 55 million of investment. And they're now suing the government to try to recoup that investment. So companies are holding back on huge investments, at least in the UK for now, until they have more clarity on what is going to be the regulatory landscape. So our technology, because it's so simple to use, so simple to install, it can bridge that gap, like, hey, how can we increase what we have today without having to make millions of pounds of investments in our facilities? So I think our solution comes in the right time, where people want to do better, but without having to invest huge amount of money in doing that.
That's interesting. And what are the practical and environmental benefits that people will see by deploying Sorted to their local areas?
Yeah, I think the practical wise, they will see the increase in recyclability rates of the material. So they will see that less materials will go to incineration or landfill, and more materials are going to be recycled. And when it comes to environmental, I think it's more straightforward in the sense like the more materials you recycle, less you are reliant on virgin materials. So you are going to cut the production of virgin materials, so that will help reduce the carbon emissions, basically when you have to extract the oil, convert it to plastic and so on. So by mechanically recycling the plastics or the materials overall, it will help to rely less on virgin materials for the environment.
Got it. So how many competitors do you have in the market right now, and who you would call like, okay, these are my friendly rivals, I would say, and how do you set yourself apart from them?
Yeah, I think I'll start with the latest part. So how do we set apart? I think we're the only ones crazy enough to actually believe that helping the humans makes sense, at least in the short to mid-term, and everyone is trying to replace them, basically. So there are some companies trying to build robots to replace those humans, which is, again, interesting technology, but it's still quite early on. So we saw an opportunity, how can we bridge that gap today to gain the confidence from our customers? So I will say that's our main differentiator. So not go all the way to try to get rid of human jobs, but hey, how can we help them to be better? And so there are two main buckets of competitors. One are the companies that focus mostly on analytics. So they will use computer vision as well, but to only provide data to their customers. So they will provide the composition of the waste, where the waste is going, which is interesting, but there is not immediate action to improve the operation. And then we have the robots, which again are trying to replace the humans, which sounds good, but they're still unfortunately very expensive, take a lot of space, and are not necessarily exponentially better than a human. So the ROI is not that clear. So I think our value proposition today is like, hey, we can take your operation and improve it in a very cost-efficient way. We can bring to our customers positive ROI from almost the beginning of the operation, which makes a lot of sense for them because their margins are relatively low.
Got it. And also that contributes a lot to the sustainability as well. And coming to the more human aspect of you being a founder, how do you think is the funding gap for diverse founders in the European landscape?
That's an interesting one. I think one of the drawbacks, at least in my case, is like, because I was coming from Colombia, I'm not from the UK, so that accessing the network of venture capital was not that was not easy for me. So I think that's one of the things that Antler does very well, because they democratize a little bit like venture capital for everyone. So taking someone who is not from this country, who doesn't have the network, and plug it into the system that as much as VC says, yeah, we have our open door policies, we know that there's still really a lot of warm intros, like who knows who. So I think that's something where Antler helps a lot, and I'm very grateful for that. Otherwise, like, honestly, it's tough out there. Like, without a network, like just knocking on doors is, as much as VC says that they do that, like, it's not that, because again, like, they receive hundreds of, if not thousands of emails every single month. So cutting through the noise is very hard. While having access to someone and say, hey, I vouch for this guy, to make things much easier.
That's true. Getting the access of network is the most important thing for a founder, I guess. And if the VC or the early investor stage VCs like Antler are doing that, then it really opens a lot of doors. And what is the advice you have for the AI-driven e-waste industry founders who are looking to gain some capital or make a name in this industry?
Don't give up. It's a tough environment. It's for everyone. So it was very challenging for us to raise our seed round. We made it, and you need to also look on this, like, it's not only about the environmental benefit. Of course, like, everyone wants to do what is best for the planet, but you also need to attach that to what is the economical value. Because at the end of the day, like, if you go down the VC route, like, they need to prove economical returns to their LPs. So how can you attach what you're doing to either, like, increasing the revenue, reduce the cost, or what economical opportunity you see that you can attach that impact to? Because that's what is going to drive the decision whether they invest or not. Like, they're not a non-profit, they're not a charity, so they need to show, like, a path to making money down the line.
That's a great advice, Luis, and thank you so much for joining us at Tech Funding News this episode. And I wish you best of luck with Sorted. And thank you everyone who's joining us today over here. And we are going to meet some more interesting founders from the Antler portfolio. So stay tuned. This is Akansha Timri signing off. Thank you.